Let us begin. I think this
Take
is
it away, Geneva.
Hey guys, welcome back to Yeah, No, I Know. I'm Jenna,
I'm Kristen.
and we're
What are
gonna.
we doing today?
I think we're doing a little bit of a rapid fire with very thoughtful feedback, relationship or relationship. So
Before we get started, though, I wanted to save it for on here so everybody could know how you're doing. But Jenna has started a cleanse where you were doing 5 cups of caffeine a day or 5 drinks of caffeine a day?
Yeah, I was being very, very bad. I was definitely ignoring my body, telling it to shut up, and just with being a mom, being a wife, opening the salon, having my other salon, having my hair extension line, doing the podcast, doing the YouTube, having friends, having, family, all that.
You don't have friends. Don't lie.
I have two.
I'm just kidding.
Two.
I joke.
She's not kidding.
I'm not kidding. Neither of us have friends, really. You guys are our friends.
Yeah. We have each other and we have you.
We're busy. But so you cut out the caffeine, and how's it? And you're starting a new diet regimen too, right?
Yeah. So I did that bioenergetic testing. I think we talked about on our health and habits one or whatever. And so cut out all caffeine. She's got me on this regimen. I took off all my nails. I took out my hair for a day because my migraine was so bad from the lack of caffeine that I wanted to rip my face off. Which I knew was going to happen. It's not like it's like
doesn't make it any less
no, it was
painful.
So bad. So thank God I had faith here because she was literally doing everything that I needed to do.
Oh man,
because I could not function. But yeah, so I'm on it right now. I think I'm on I started on Sunday, and today's a Wednesday. So
so you're feeling a little bit better.
Yeah, I'm feeling better. I definitely feel fatigued, because the caffeine, obviously. I have to sit down more often and but other than
out
that,
of your system and it'll level out.
Absolutely.
You just need those vitamins probably pretty quickly.
Yeah, so I'm still waiting on my supplements that they tested me. So what they do is they take your hair, because I know you were interested too. So I know they take your hair, your nails, and then they have you do urine tests, and they test your samples against thousands of different remedies, supplements and things like that. And then they narrow it down to 20. And then a technician goes over your information and the stuff that came back from the testing and takes out of those 20 the few that work the best together to balance everything out. And then
remedies for what exactly?
Whatever it is that's going on in your system. So they check you for your digestive system, your stress levels. I could go through all the lists of it, but I could put the link down below.
Yeah, I want to check that out.
Yeah, and so then they just kind of find what works and what's going to balance out your system specifically for you. Instead of just going to the, Whole Foods or something and guessing what vitamins you think you need.
That can be a problem too, overloading yourself with vitamins that your body doesn't need.
Oh yeah, it could do the opposite.
Right.
Except for I think it's vitamin C. You can't take too much. Your body will just flush it out.
Yeah.
But other things you can definitely take too much of. So it makes me more motivated to continue with it and to do all that, knowing that this regimen is just for me. But
yeah, that's cool.
We made a mistake, and Skylar cooks and I buy it, my daughter, and she went to the website and she downloaded some recipes, and I was posting that my daughter made a cheesecake. And the lady messaged me on Instagram, was like, "Why are you eating cheesecake?" I'm like, "Wait, what do you mean?" She's like, "You're not supposed to be doing that yet." So we accidentally skipped a section. And so technically we had a little bit of a cheat day, but I only had a bite of it. Because I don't do well with cheese anyway. So
what does the diet look like? What's a meal look like, or a day? Or
so I haven't gotten too into it yet. I've been really, really just basic, chicken, salads with cucumbers and But I can tell you that everything that's on the list, whether it's meat, fruits, or vegetables, are all anti-inflammatory fruits, meats, or vegetables, or seeds or things like that. So it's basically to get inflammation out of your system, because inflammation is basically the nemesis of everything that can go wrong in your body. Cancer feeds off inflammation, and just so many different things can go wrong with your body from inflammation. So that's the first step, is to clear your body of all inflammation.
I'm totally interested in doing that. It is quite pricey though. I don't know if
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's like, what is it, like 400 for the full like diagnostic, and then I think the food part of it, the diet part of it, it's still like betaing. It's still testing. Like they've done it multiple times, but like I'm part of this like beta thing that they're doing, and we take these drops that kind of help like flush and the detoxing more. So I have a really like not great drainage in my body from like an MTHFR genetic mutation, but your lymphatic system doesn't like move on its own anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So it's good to like have things like massage and acupuncture and foods and things like that that help like drain your lymphatic system. So
Okay.
yeah. But again, I don't know exactly how much. That's just
Yeah.
word of mouth. But they don't have an exact price yet. So, but they do have the testing, and they will do the testing for the remedies and give you your own remedy like solutions.
You could do a lot with that.
Oh, yeah. And maybe just even look up anti-inflammation foods and then just stick to those for right now. I think that alone would do wonders.
Yeah.
So
I'm interested to do that because I'm still trying to drop some lbs and like kind of get healthier and like get my body back to like a place where I'm like feeling really good too, because I'm exhausted all the time right now. I mean, obviously I have a 4.5-month-old, so I'm tired, but I would like to support my body.
1,000%. It could be hormones, and they do test like the hormonal imbalances too. So
yeah, that's cool. Yeah, love that.
Cool.
Well, keep us posted. I want to know how that's going. We're supposed to do the coffee butthole cleanse thing too, colonic. So we'll have to do an episode like all
coffee
about
enema?
that.
Yeah.
Like I want to try that.
Yeah, like crazy like health hacks.
Yeah. I want to try it out. See. So let's get right into it. We've got some relationship or relationship.
Yes.
And you've got some on here. And if you guys haven't heard this little segment that we do, basically you can send in a question about any sort of relationship in your life. It doesn't have to be like a romantic one, but we can give you solicited advice and our opinions. And we're not professionals or anything, but we've been around the block. We have some experience, and sometimes you just need someone else to like bounce ideas off of, or to make you feel like you're not crazy if you have a gaslighter in your life.
Yep. Well, and sometimes your friends can be enablers. Like they can be like, "Oh no, girl, like you're in the right," when actually you're not. Like maybe you're wrong. And
or the opposite, where they're like, you know, you shouldn't give them another chance at all, and maybe you should.
Yeah. So sometimes it's good to get an outside opinion.
We also have employees and have had employees of our businesses. So if there's a relationship question there too, in the workplace, I feel like we could probably help with that and give some insight.
Yep, definitely. Don't hire friends.
Oh, dude, I know. Other than Faith.
Other than Faith.
Other than Faith.
Okay, so let's see. Okay, well, we'll just start with this one because it's the first one I clicked on, but there's a lot in here. So I think that's why we're kind of going to do a few in one so we don't leave people out. I feel bad. So this one says, my ex gave me an STD and lied to me about it. And when I found out, he gaslighted me into thinking I'd somehow gotten it from a toilet seat. And I'd had it for months. He's blocked on everything, but his friends told me he's not getting tested and I want to call his mom about it. Also, he gave me the STD because he cheated and didn't know you could get STDs orally.
Did I fucking write this? Because that exact thing has happened to me.
Did you write it?
No, but it feels like I did.
No, I know you didn't because I can see who this is and it's not you.
I have fake profiles, so I only write questions because I need advice.
But yeah, that sucks.
So what's the question?
That
kind of sounds like she doesn't really know what to do.
I think she said she wants to call his mom, but I'm not sure what that's going to accomplish.
I think it depends on the relationship he has with his mother and the relationship you have with his mother.
Yeah, like how long were they together? And
this exact thing has happened to me before. I was in my early 20s and one of my ex-boyfriends, who was an abusive, lying asshole, gave me chlamydia. And I had not had sex with anyone else. So tried to tell me that, because I got these results when I was like at work. And I was like freaking out, and he like wasn't answering his phone, and he answered me, and then he finally picked up, and then he was like defensive towards me and tried to gaslight me and make me feel like I had gotten it from someone else. And the interesting part was he wasn't even interested in going to like get it taken care of. And I'm like, you just take a pill and it like gets rid of it. Thank God that's all I got from him. So, I mean, I don't know what kind of STD you got, but we all know that there are STDs out there that you cannot get rid of. So I'm sorry for that in itself. That's terrible. You should, when you trust someone, you shouldn't have to like worry about those things. And it's sad that like there's some people that are just so reckless with your health that they don't give a fuck. Assuming that you have a good relationship with his mom and you guys talk and you guys have been together for a while and you want to work this out with this guy, maybe that is a conversation and a little intervention conversation you have. I mean, I guess I would consider it if I wanted to stay with this person. But the bottom line is, unless he's going to like cop to it and like admit it and like apologize and like own it, which is really the more manly thing to do. And maybe you can share that with him. Like, it would just be really nice if we could have like a genuine, like respectful conversation with one another. Like, I don't feel like you respect me or my body at this point because I know that this is, I got it from you. And also, if he's cheating on you, do you really want to stay with him? I guess that's another question there too.
Well, she says right here, he's blocked on everything. So I think that they're not talking anymore. And she blocked him and like she's done with him.
Got it. So there's no point in talking to his mom.
Yeah. I mean, the only reason to talk to his mom would be so that he doesn't go and like give it to more women.
What is his mom going to say?
That's why I said I'm not sure. Yeah, that's why I said, like, I don't know if there's anything she can do at this point. There needs to be a Yelp for dating, like we've talked about before.
So there's Facebook apps or not apps, groups where you can do that. I guess the only positive I could see talking to his mom is if you wanted to let her know your side of things and why you're not in his life anymore. That would be
like
something.
If they had a good relationship with his mom. Because if you're thinking of calling his mom, then I'm assuming that you guys had a good relationship. So
unless it's just a tattle, then don't. But like, if you're just calling to say like, hey, like, this is why we're not together anymore. This is what happened. I'm not sure what side of the story you got, but now I have this STD that I have to deal with, possibly live with my entire life. And I'm just really disappointed. And if like it comes up at some point, like maybe you can talk some sense into this guy so it doesn't happen to someone else. Yeah. But yeah, that's a real shame. But I would say relation shit. And fuck that guy.
Yeah, he's an asshole.
Yeah. Douchebag. For sure.
Hopefully that helped. Let's see. Got dumped by my ex. Then I texted his best friend on a whim. And we had one great night and agreed to never talk about it again. But I want to talk about it.
To who? Why?
Wait, got dumped by my ex. Then I texted his best friend. So I'm like curious, like, were you like digging his best friend before you guys broke up?
Obviously.
And then, so they agreed never to talk about it again. I think like her and the best friend.
Why?
But she wants to talk about it, which means she wants to probably pursue a relationship. So talk to him.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many circumstantial details I would need to like give my opinion, but just assuming that you and your ex are on good terms and you're trying not to ruffle any feathers and that's why you don't want to talk about it, I think there needs to be a certain amount of time in between the breakup and like you announcing that you're now with his friend. But like if you had one great night and there's a real genuine connection, I don't see the reason in like cutting that off and not seeing what could have been or what could be with someone that could potentially be your person if it's just simply to save face with your ex. Like we all need to be adults and realize that like, hey, you're not it, but maybe this person is. So I think there's a respectful way to do it. And it'd be really nice if your ex didn't hear it from other people first.
That's true. Yeah. And I think if you are crushing on this guy that you've just hooked up with and you can't stop thinking about him, then you need to just talk to him because that will either confirm or deny if he's into you as well. And then you can move on or you can move on with him. So
didn't that happen with you? One of your exes started dating one of your friends and now they're married?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Forgot about that. Yeah. And I adore her. Like, absolutely love her.
Yeah. So I think there's room for maturity.
Yeah. She's my son's stepmother.
Yeah, when I heard that story, I was like, that is so fucking
she's
weird.
the best. So it can work out.
Yeah, it can all work out. I think it's just about how you approach it and how you handle it. I think texting him right after you broke up was probably not the best.
A little vindictive.
Not the best idea, but I totally understand.
I've been guilty of it.
Yeah, actually I've never done that, but I totally understand some like rebound stuff, but like maybe it could have been someone else. That's a little but you guys don't have to talk about that night with your ex necessarily. Like that doesn't necessarily need to be his information bank. Like you could just see where you guys want to go with it and then take it slowly. But I don't know. I would give it a few months before you like discuss that with the ex, but definitely discuss it with the guy and see where you're both at.
See if it's even worth talking. Yeah. To the boyfriend, the ex.
Yeah. Was it just a hookup? Like, does he not want anything more? Like, is it just sex? Because if it's just sex, just keep doing it. Just don't tell anybody. But if you want to pursue a relationship, then I would say talk about it, see how you guys want to go about it, and have that conversation with your ex before someone else does. No matter how he's going to take it, like how he's going to react is up to him. You can't control that. But at least you did what you should do to be like an upstanding person and like handle it with dignity, you know? That's how I feel.
Yeah. I think that's good. Okay. How do I get my boyfriend to propose? It's been almost 8 fucking years, asshole.
So there is some resentment that has grown, which is probably showing in other areas of your relationship and like maybe possibly like snide little comments. This kind of goes back to, we did an episode about ultimatums. Yeah. And I am not really a fan of those. However, I do think sometimes with marriage situations like this, you have to figure out why. Why does he not want to get married? Have you had the conversation? Is it because he doesn't believe that a paper needs to like tell, like he doesn't need to wear a ring on his finger to tell everyone? Or is it because he's scared? I'm curious. Has he been married before and divorced and like burned? Like what is the source of him not wanting to get married or him not proposing? Maybe you don't know. Maybe you haven't had that conversation, but I feel like that is like a conversation that everyone should have. I mean, 8 years, that's insane. I would not ever stick around that long, but I also would definitely have the conversation where I'd have all the answers that I needed to make a decision one way or the other for me and what I'm comfortable with.
Yeah, I think there's like either commitment issues, there's like family history issues, there could be immaturity issues, there could be like Peter Pan syndrome issues. There's so many different variables to this.
Counseling is great.
Yeah, I think that like making sure, like I think we've always said, like making sure that you guys are on the same page, right? Like you need to make sure that like what your future looks like, you both are heading in the same direction. And if you're not, it doesn't matter if he proposes. Like if like is the rest of your relationship great? Like is everything perfect? Well, no relationship,
nothing's
perfect, but like is everything else okay? It's just the marriage thing. Because if so, then like okay, I don't know. I just feel like that's super. You guys just aren't on the same page and you're not wanting the same things. And do you want kids? Like, yeah, I don't know. I have had a lot of friends that have been in that situation.
Yeah.
And it's never ended well.
Yeah, you start to build resentment, and obviously by the asshole comment you have, which is totally understandable, and you're totally justified in your feelings. And if that's something that you really, really want and need in your life, like for me it is, like I realize that I wouldn't want to just be with someone for 10 years, 8 years, however many years. I always said like if this doesn't happen like in a certain period of time, like there's a conversation that needs to be had. And that's true. Like do you both want the same things? Like where do you both want to be in 5 years? You know, I think it's just getting to the root of like, not the problem, but like his reasoning, like why hasn't he proposed? Like Nick and I started having those conversations 6 months into our relationship about like, if I would ever want to get married again, cause I've been divorced. And, you know, we had those conversations, like, where would we want to get married? Where would we want to be in 5 years? Would we want to be married by the time we had a child? Like, so I think you just have to just have that conversation, just have an open conversation about it. And if there's a deeper seated issue with him, like that he's like scared or he's been burned before, then like I highly suggest counseling. Like I just went to a counseling session literally yesterday with Nick. Like it is a good thing. It's a really great thing. And there's a lot of bad counselors out there too that I feel like kind of like can scare people. But it's really healthy to be able to like have a non-biased third party, like kind of look into your relationship and like figure out deeper issues, because I've been able to figure out reasons why I do certain things, is say certain things a certain way by like her asking me and prompting me. So I think that it needs to be a conversation that you have before you just start really resenting him and it's like hurting your relationship in other ways, you know? So I wouldn't put a stamp of relationship or relationship on this one yet. Honestly, I'm kind of in the middle. I think that the conversation needs to be had about it. What do you think?
My gut just tells me that
I'm
like,
with you.
yeah, like maybe it's time to move on. I know that sounds harsh and very like, but I'm 40 and I don't put up with shit anymore. So if it were me and this guy knows that I want to be married and won't, to me that like is a breaking of trust. Like if he's telling you like, yeah, we're gonna get married. Yeah, I want to marry you. Yeah, like to me like that's a lie.
Has he ever said that though? We don't know.
Exactly. So that's just my own like of what I'm thinking in my head because we don't know like your whole story. But like if that is the scenario, then I would be like,
yeah, if he's like pushing
and there's
you
no
off,
kids involved and
yeah,
all those things being a factor.
right. I mean, it's been 8 years of your life. So I think you really just have to take a hard look at what you're not willing to put up with and what you're not willing to move on with and like, and stop putting, like, make yourself a priority and like make what you want and what's going to make you happy a priority and let that be known to him and see how he receives it. And if he's still not interested in budging or whatever, then you have to make a decision. Like, is not being married a make it or break it? Or are you willing to stay in the relationship because you're so happy in other ways and areas that you're okay just being, you know, friends, or maybe you guys can decide to just be engaged forever. Like, who knows? You just have to get real with like what's going to make you happy at the end of the day and like let it be known. Put it all on the table, you know, in a non-accusatory way. Do not give an ultimatum. Ultimatums, I mean, essentially that is an ultimatum saying, this is what I want for my future. I want it with you, but if you're not willing to give me what I want to, you know, make this work in the long run, then, you know, I'm not willing to sacrifice what I want. So at the end of the day, it's kind of an ultimatum, but it's more of like a, this is what I deserve and this is what I'm going for and this is what I'm going to have. So is that with you or not?
Yeah.
I mean, it's an ultimatum essentially, but not like, I feel like some ultimatums are just like, you're going to do this or I'm leaving. And that's like just not okay in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah,
Very
I think there's trivial things and those are like not good ultimatums. But when they're like life decisions and things that you want for your life, if somebody isn't willing or wanting or on the same page as you, then it's okay to put that out there and say, we just don't work then. Like, this is what I want. Are you willing to do that? No. Okay, we're not going to work.
Right.
And if you're not married, you don't have kids. Yes, 8 years is a very long time. I'm sure you have a lot put into it, but like another 8 years is going to be even longer.
And at the end of the day, if this person loves you and knows you're the one he wants to be with forever, then no matter why he doesn't want to get married, he will figure it out and overcome that and marry you.
Yeah. When we were going to counseling, our counselor would tell us like, who does this argument? Who does it mean more to? It's not on a scale of 1 to 10. If it's a 2 to you and it's an 8 to her, or vice versa, just let things go sometimes. Like, no, pick your battles, basically.
Yeah,
so
I was literally just gonna say
if it's a 10 to you and it's a 2 to him, you know. So
yeah, I think a good conversation needs to be had, so you can kind of figure out where you stand and where to go from here.
Cool. Okay, this one's a little bit longer.
Last one.
Sure.
We've got 32 minutes
on. Hi, ladies. I'm not sure how much this fits in the relationship. However, thought I'd send my situation and see what you think. So my sister and I have been so close and the best of friends ever since our parents split back 12 years ago or so. We moved to Arizona together, then Florida, then back to our hometown in Minnesota. She was a huge part in helping me raise my son. I had him at 18, got kicked out by my Christian high school. Apparently getting pregnant in Christian school is frowned upon. Oops. Oops to me too. Dad wasn't around much. You get the picture. Fast forward to 5 years ago, when my husband and I got married, my sister and I stayed close, but I noticed she started drinking more and I was catching her in weird lies. She eventually stole my husband's prescribed Adderall, and that's when I knew I had to put some distance between us because she crossed some major boundaries. Fast forward to now. We found out my sister's been a closet alcoholic for the last 2 years with some dabbing of Coke, Adderall, Xanax, and all that stuff. It's caused some tension in my marriage because I want to be there to emotionally support my sister, but in doing that, I get extremely stressed and anxious, anxiety. I've had some people telling me to cut my sister off until she's better because I'm currently enabling her, but I'm so worried if I do that and she ends up dying or something horrible, I'll never forgive myself. And any advice would be amazing. I know some of you have gone through some unhealthy relationships, so I feel like you might have some words of wisdom. Thank you either way. Love your podcast. Oh, sweet.
I know you have a lot to say on this, so I'll just be quick with mine. But I just think that like you shouldn't just cut her off. Essentially, like I think you should be there, but just give as much as you can give without over giving and giving yourself anxiety, because at the end of the day, you need to put yourself first and your family. And I don't mean your family as in your sister. I mean your family as in your child and your husband.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
This one's hard.
I know it is hard.
This one's really hard. I know if you've watched our podcast, you know about the whole relationship with my ex-husband, how he was an alcoholic, druggie, like all of that. But this actually like touches with me and my best friend, Travis, who passed away. And we were like best friends, hung out every day. He was like my brother, helped me with my kids when I left my husband. And he started to kind of go off the handle. He started to drink again. He would drink, I would find like 12 packs in his car while he was driving and they would be empty. He started using drugs again. And after like having to like tell my husband at the time goodbye and leaving him, to have to do that to my best friend, it was really hard.
Yeah.
It was really hard. And there is a part of me that wishes that I didn't just tell, because I had just gotten married. I had my kids. I was starting my family. And I needed to like focus on my family. Like we had our family torn apart by my ex-husband. I had a new husband. Ken was in the picture now. We needed to build that. And he was showing up drunk, belligerent, yelling and screaming and like just doing these awful things. And I told him I can't be around you right now. Like you're toxic. You're yelling at me. It wasn't good. But I get your fear because he did end up passing away. And that was probably like one of the hardest moments of my life, was to go where his accident happened and to have to go to his grave and see him. I wanted to see him. I know that's weird, but like I wanted to go to the casket. I wanted to see him. It's like I had to make sure he was gone. So
do you wish you would have done anything different?
I do. He was married at the time too. So they were going through a separation, so I think that probably was attributed part of it. Yeah. Yeah. But I did see him once before he passed away. He came to my house, and I think this is where my regret kicks in. Is I was supposed to go and hang out with one of my other friends, and I kind of like rushed that day so that I could go and meet up with her that evening. And he seemed like okay, but he was living in a really shitty situation. The people that he was living with were drug dealers, and he wanted out of it. And in my mind, I was just like, okay, cool. Like Travis is coming back. Like, like I'll see him, like we'll see him more. Like maybe this is the beginning of it. And he died a week later. And I'm just like, why didn't I take that time? Why didn't I sit down with him? Why didn't I, he was still using, which I found out later because it was in his autopsy. But God, I don't know. It's like there's a point where you do have to cut them off, but I can tell you from the other side, like it's really hard. And I don't know if there's anything I could have done, because he had a wife, he had a child, and if that couldn't change him, I don't know if I could have. It just would have eased my guilt. So I would say that don't enable, like don't give money, don't give food, don't give those things, but give resources, give support, give kind words, give an ear to listen to. But when it becomes toxic, you can cut it off at that point. But just I would say stay away from you can give them food, but like minimally, because they'll keep coming back. It's like that stray cat. They'll come
Yeah.
to where they know they're going to get it, and they'll get money somewhere else. They'll get drugs somewhere else. Like, they'll find where they can get what they need. So I think just being a safe place for words and comfort and strength and encouragement and love is probably the best place to be with that one.
Yeah. Yeah. And maybe have a conversation with your significant other too, to kind of like express like everything, like how it's making you feel, what your fears are, and get some comfort from them. And let them know that you need that from them, and kind of have a conversation with them about what they're comfortable with. Obviously, you don't want a lot of that around your child, but it's probably hard. You feel like you owe it to your sister because she's been there for you. You guys have been best friends. She helped you with your child, and you feel like it's your responsibility to help. But like, at the end of the day, if somebody doesn't want to be helped, they're not going to be helped. So that's why I think what Jenna said is spot on. Like, give resources, give support, give kind words, to an extent, give your time and your love, but don't do it to the point where you're just like so stressed out and anxiety ridden, and it's affecting your family and you and your well-being. Because at the end of the day, that's you need to be happy and good to raise your child and to be there for your husband.
Yeah. You can't pour from an empty cup.
Exactly. Yeah. I would say that's a relationship right now, but there's hope. There is hope.
Yeah. And there's resources out there. I don't know what they are, but I'm sure there are, for her. So, yeah, hopefully she can get the help she needs.
Yeah.
So, but one thing, don't promise things in exchange for rehab and things like that too. I made that mistake. Like, if you get me this, then I can do that. And don't do that. Don't barter.
Good words, I think. Good advice, especially since you've literally been through that, like, almost exact
Both
situation.
of these were hit pretty close to home for us, and we just like picked them randomly. So that's kind of yes.
Yeah, that was cool. Well, hopefully, like, it helped give some. Hopefully, we helped with a little bit of advice. But if you guys want to submit any of your stories like this or questions, we have our email always in the description box, or you can direct message us on Instagram. That's how we got all those, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, these are all from Instagram.
Thanks for listening, guys. If you're watching on YouTube, we are also on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all of those things. If you just want to like listen in your car or with headphones and don't want to do the whole YouTube thing, and if you're listening on Spotify or whatnot and you want to see our beautiful faces, we are also on YouTube.
Yeah, and if any of this you think will help anybody else, don't forget to share as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you have any ideas for special guests on here, we are kind of starting to like get our feet wet with having guests on the podcast. So leave any ideas below. Anything that's close to your heart or that you would like to see or whatever. I mean, we'll do it. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
So thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.